Today is Thursday, April 11th, and I will call this meeting of the Amherst Building and Grounds Committee to order at 11:05. Our first item on the agenda was to accept the meeting minutes of 11:29 and 2:01. However, I've had a request from a committee member who is not present today, hasn't had an opportunity to read the minutes for us to hold them, so I'm going to table those minutes until our next meeting. Our next item on the agenda, just a few updates from the Amherst School Board. So you may have seen, but if you haven't, we have put a call out to the community for a few additional community members to help round out our committee. So we'll look to appoint those at our next school board meeting, which is April 18th. So if you know anyone who has a particular, area of expertise or desire or interest to serve, we'll probably be sticking with, a monthly meeting more as needed. So let those folks know. They can email Chelsea Borden, which is cborden@sau39.org. And then we'll discuss that at our next board meeting. Thank you all for replying and expressing continued interest in serving on the committee. Thank you very much.
Board continue that charter.
Yes, so at our first school board meeting, our organizational meeting, the board did appoint board representatives to continue serving on this committee. So that is myself and Mr. Greg Fritz, who is now on the Amherst School Board. So he's moving from that community member role on this committee to a board role. He couldn't be here today because of a work conflict. But we're the two board representatives, and I can actually read to you, John, the charge and mission of this committee, and then I'll send it out. Give me 1 second to get it in front of me.
So I presume that it is our intention to put it on the ballot next year.
No, so let me just read to you what this committee's description is. The Building and Grounds Committee will monitor and make recommendations regarding facility capital improvement needs in the Amherst School District. The committee works closely with the Director of Facilities, Business Administrator, and Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent on the following: understanding the state of buildings and grounds in ASD relative to life cycle, operation, and function, making recommendations regarding phasing, funding, and prioritization of capital maintenance projects. So to directly answer your question, we have to hash that out, the intention for next year. The board has an upcoming facilities retreat. It's not scheduled yet, but we're looking at May to have an extended board meeting where the board can offer more direction to this committee on specifically the Wilkins project. Part of our charge, though, will be to continue the work that we're doing, obviously, at the middle school, to continue looking at the elementary school needs and that project as it develops. We're adding new members, so our next meeting of this group will be an organizational meeting because we will have new members. So we'll organize with, a nomination for chair and secretary for this next committee season, which is pretty typical. The board also, though, for our upcoming retreat, we're looking for any sort of feedback from you all as Building and Grounds Committee members, just in terms of, anything that you would like to send to the board that would inform that meeting, that facilities retreat, your experience on this committee, thoughts and ideas. You're welcome to send those to me or directly to our board chair, which is Tom Gauthier. If you send them to me, I'll just forward them.
So are we allowed to share our thoughts on the Wilkins project?
You're encouraged to share your thoughts on the Wilkins project. Yeah.
Are we going to do that as like a committee or just individuals?
In terms of sending
Thoughts,
it. Yeah, I mean, we have time on the agenda today to talk about the election results. So we're,
Okay.
I would be happy to do that today. But in terms of any like formal written kind of thought, if you could send that to the board directly.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Fabulous.
Okay, so that is all I have from a board update perspective. I don't know if it makes more sense to do election results now or do AMS updates. Like, I don't know how much you have on that.
Can we do AMS updates, because I have to leave.
Because you don't want to miss that. Okay, That's fine with me if that's good with everybody else.
So we've set up monthly meetings with EEI, SAU and administration over at middle school. We've had 2 so far. We have our 3rd meeting scheduled for 4/22 is our next meeting.
And that's vacation,
That is vacation week. It's,
fine with me, but just like Kristen won't be there.
it's just, I'm using it for EEI to get in here with vendors. Any updates, I'll just send out. I'll just do like my meeting notes to that for anybody that can attend. so that
Because
they
I'm
can-
probably working at home during vacation, if you need me to come in.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We're meeting with them just to make sure that we're on track with roofing materials, all of the material timelines, which we are. We confirmed with their roofing company, who is Melanson, they feel good on the materials and the skylights. We've selected the window colors and the metal panel colors that are going in as well. Our RTU timeline is on track for shipping to the rigging company in Loudon, and there's no concerns about that as far as getting down here as far as timeline, so we're good with the rooftop unit, which is a major portion of this project, as we know. We've worked with our internal IT department and our controls vendor to make sure that they have network access, confirming that they're able to tie everything into our existing program. And that they're able to change everything, because we use a different vendor than we're using for the controls. We make sure that they have full access to change that program. That's one of the great benefits with the HVAC program that we've installed. It's open options. It's not proprietary to one vendor. We can use multiple vendors for it. So that's great. We've reviewed the schedule with them. They've made some modifications to the schedule as well. We're gonna review that in our next meeting and keep reviewing that as the meetings go on. They sent us a site logistics plan as far as where construction is going to be, what entrances we're using for students, staff, construction members, where the dumpster is going, where our storage trailer is going, and the days that we have crane picks as well. Behind the scenes, I'm working with Liberty Utilities and Eversource. I'm just waiting to hear back on them. I've sent all the plans and design for HVAC roofing, and we'll figure out how much rebate we'll get from Liberty and Eversource. Probably within the next coming weeks for Liberty, and Eversource still needs a little bit more time on that as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You just said students and staff entrances, so is this for like Title I summer
Yes,
So
program?
actually,
students?
Kristen and John requested that we look to see if Souhegan could host our ESY and Title I programs.
Okay,
So I met with
Perfect.
Dana last week. She is fine. I did the times and
Excellent.
dates of the program. So we'll be taking, I'm not exactly sure how many classrooms in the annex. But the ESY and Title I programs are expected to run in the annex.
perfect. So that means no students in the building while this work is happening.
Correct. I just have, I think a little bit more logistics, but everybody's on board. I just have to find out how many classrooms they need for ESY and Title I. 3-4 days a week, midday is not, and it's for 5 weeks-ish, I'm an
Yeah.
ish person.
Yeah.
But I will be finalizing that over break and sending memos to you, to everybody, just so that, and figure out how many classrooms we need.
And I assume like the math acceleration program that happens in the summer would be included in
Yeah.
moving over
Yeah.
as well.
What about the gym? Is that gonna be occupied at times?
I think the middle school gym should be fine, right?
middle school gym should be fine, depending on just what rec has over there. And we I have it the first week of August, we're doing the floor as far as we refinish the floor
Okay.
every year. So it's just,
We have that basketball program in the summer, right?
So
Was
I
that
know-
at the high school?
No, yeah,
Okay.
the last couple summers, just direct experience with that basketball summer camp, it has been at the high school. I
Okay.
don't know if there were any other
That's probably it then.
groups that use
I guess
the.
it's something we should look at.
Convention.
we moved that to the high school this year.
Yeah.
Already, yeah.
Good call up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He loves that.
It's a good one.
I think the high school would be a good spot to
It will
do
be.
that, actually,
I'm
yeah.
just wondering if the rec department's doing anything.
Yeah, so I am happy to reach out, if that's helpful, or, I don't know, Roger.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
fine. If they're using the gym, it really doesn't
It
impact the
doesn't.
building. I mean, I'm not really
Like,
concerned about events
Like, I
happening
don't know
there.
what kind of big trucks and, like, they'll still be able to
Yeah, the gym should be fine.
negotiate a traffic.
Pretty
avoidance.
quick.
To go back, I mean, even if we have students in the building, we would be
We would
okay
be-
with that. We're just trying to take stress off of the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha, okay.
I mean, you're the liaison to rec, maybe just find.
Yeah,
out.
I'll mention it and see if there's any anticipated challenges. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all I have.
Roger. Oh,
So a
Great.
couple of things, so we met at one of our meetings, we started planning FM systems to go in the 12 rooms. FM systems are the amplification.
Yes,
And while we're doing new roofs, new wiring, it's the easiest, most efficient time to put these in. Brian is on it, EEI is on it. We planted the seed, so timing will be, when the roofs are ready, we'll bring in someone to install the FM systems.
And does that work within the scope of the,
We do not have a cost for FM systems yet.
that's,
Yeah, so that'll be outside.
do we have an idea?
Yeah, when I say $3,500.
Steve says $3,500, but we're waiting on a cost for that. I honestly. I don't
$5,000
know.
maybe? Yeah.
is that in the budget?
That's my next question.
No, it'll come out of something. We have a tech in Amherst.
Hmm?
Trust, tech, trust.
Building upgrade,
All right, so does anyone have any questions for Roger? About
Where's-
AMS? Okay. So we're starting Monday, what is that? All right,
We're nimble.
17th of June, is that right?
so Roger, you're gonna be here to supervise that stuff, or you're gonna be on vacation?
I'll have some vacation, John, but we'll definitely be able to supervise it.
Okay, thank you.
What's the completion timeline?
We're pushing right towards the weeks before school.
Okay,
We've
great.
given all of our calendar, though. They know when teachers are coming back. They know when PD is.
Nice.
We're slowly getting second floor rooms back to us as we're able to, so that we can finish them. We actually have a really good plan with the EEI. That's why it's important that we've been meeting monthly to just go through it. As well.
So June 17th is the start date?
Yeah, let me get that for you.
Well, we have to be out by the 19th, right? 18th, maybe it's the 18th. They start now. Because they're only, I'm a little agita
17th is the Monday, I didn't know if it was on Monday.
on just packing up. We're asking teachers to pack up their personal items
We start move out the
Yeah, nobody
13th.
left. Yeah,
and
They start the 18th. We start moving out the
Gotcha.
13th.
so we
okay,
have to be out.
Yeah.
And school stuff is packed by school people, personal stuff is packed by the teachers themselves.
got it.
And have we informed everybody about that yet?
No, we need to meet with Kristen and stuff on that to work with that communication out.
That's typically that's agita for
Sure.
teachers.
Yeah, so the 12th is a half day as well, right?
It is.
Okay, I have some questions about the Wilton School. Since the budget didn't pass, or the new building. Are we still replacing the portables?
I think that's a discussion where we're going to discuss as a committee on how we move forward on that, John.
Okay,
Not yet.
There's no money for that.
no money? Okay,
Any other questions on AMS right now?
Not
Before
in the
we,
budget.
Steve, are you good?
No, I think.
I thought we had a-
Sounds wonderful.
put
Yeah.
Roger
Really
really
good.
budget together for
I'm
that,
very excited to see
the
that.
school board's gonna approve,
All right, so let's,
I don't know,
Be next year.
sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay. That's just not on our agenda for today, but yes, we need to address the portables, and that
Well,
will be part of
Probably a
our
year to get
our
it.
discussion. Election results. So we all are aware that the school bond received 54%, so simple majority, but not enough to break ground. We need 60%. So I guess we could round robin. Steve, it sounded like you had some thoughts. Would you like to start with any feedback?
Upset everybody.
It's not upsetting. I mean, I think this is the
Um,
space for that
I
and
think just from people that I chatted with after the election, I have a inkling that people aren't happy with what we're trying to do there.
where,
That to, basically knock down that school and build a new one right in its place. Just because of the cost, and actually think. The design, because it's part, is that part of the historic district in town?
Wilkins?
Yeah, okay, so that was one of the things I heard too, is that. Since the historic committee has control over the downtown and you can't really do what you're saying, you have to follow their guidelines. But yet the school system's not following guidelines, but that's what I've been told.
The design
They're
in the
exact.
front is very
What
same, just extended.
what really happens is we don't discuss anything either with the planning board or the other boards. And also this town itself, after the budget is passed.
But that's what I was told.
That's the only time we do any of that.
I think we have a liaison to the school. The
We
school board
do, so
liaison
we
to-
have liaisons to those boards, probably not the historic district, but I do think that the board. I think Tim actually went and talked
Yeah.
with that group, so we did. reach out to them.
I just was told that by some people that live in the village.
Yeah,
My big question, I think I have a question regarding,
heritage.
this is a big question, if. And I know we kind of chatted about it, if it was built in another location on a clean slate. How much that would affect the cost?
We'd have to buy land, wouldn't we? Yeah.
Well, not necessarily in my mind. And I don't know how it will all work, but there's a section of land right next to the high school to the left.
The power lines,
No.
oh, to the left,
No, the Simeon Wilson Road
the field.
to the left, where the field is, but back, just beyond, that's conservation land.
Yes, you can't touch it.
It's
You
wet.
can make a trailer.
Let's-
I think
So-
that,
Yeah, but then we'd have to
Cons-
mitigate to get it, we'd still be on the hook to mitigate the fact that we took conservation land.
There's,
Yeah, but if you can make a trade with the town to give them that land there and trade them the land where the school is. And for that land there to build a new school, it's a flat lot. I walked it yesterday. Well, my son was at practice. It's flat. I know there's a section is in a floodplain, but that's way back and it's a big chunk of land, a high ground. That you could easily put a school on, built in a rectangle, so you're not putting in all these different angles. And you could probably build, because I think the school is what, 50,000 square feet that we were looking at?
And then we need what for like
I know,
grass.
From what I can see. I didn't know if that was an option, if it's gonna dramatically affect the cost and the timing.
are you
It's an
saying build
option we
another
should
school
look
and
at.
keep Wilkins?
No, tear down Wilkins and give it to the town.
Make it
Make it a park, and just give it to the town for their use, and they trade you the other land. It's a flat lot, and you can build a rectangular school.
So that's not the first time I've heard that, so I'm gonna ask this, did you come up with that on your own? or just-
No, that was, I haven't lived in town too long, so I don't know all the discussions, it's just, I've been in construction a long time. And I was just thinking of, does it reduce the cost dramatically?
Yeah, no, I've heard it floated before.
That's
It
interesting
is-
because I've never heard
Never
it,
heard
and
it,
I,
yeah.
And
I'm
it just.
surprised
the way
that
you
it's a
trade
thing I've never
land
heard
with
of.
town.
What is that land? Do you-
So you need
Is that?
minimum per child acreage. So
Okay.
so there is a state recommendation acreage per child.
I don't know, I was just floating that out there, is it a big cost savings, now you're centralizing the schools
Mhm.
in an easy drop off pattern.
Not easy, we'd have to do some,
And Wilson is
Well,
tricky
Yeah.
too.
well, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
this road's a nightmare. and
It's
to
not.
hand it out.
But you wouldn't have any of the phasing, you can stay in it.
You can just build it from the ground up. Demo this school and give it to the town for a park or whatever they wanna do with it, if they wanna trade it. It's just something that we possibly.
it's an option we should look at.
Yeah, cause does it cut the school cost from 50 million down to 30 million? I don't know the answer to that question.
So what would we have to do when we talk? The working site of a school,
Right.
so we would need a budget to do site work, all
You
the.
can
well,
site
all the-
work, yeah.
Well, this work's half done, because it's
Well,
already
you get
there.
a demo,
You do boring, you do borings, you
Yeah,
do the
but it's
same thing,
still there.
you get a site civil in there, you do a survey of the property, you do borings where you plan the school to be built, you do test pits to see if septic can drain. I mean, I think it cost us 20,000 per time bond to do Wilkins when we used them.
And we can run a gas line.
You can run a gas
So
line,
why-
but it is-
Why do you think that option is cheaper than the other option?
Or more palatable even.
because
the
it's
voters, they
one,
don't
it's
need
gonna dramatically reduce the timeline of
Yeah,
construction.
construction will be much less, much
Mhm.
shorter.
So that's not gonna interrupt the students.
Yep.
And it's gonna be an easier build because you can build a rectangle, one big rectangle. And not have to do the different construction phases of.
I have
or anything.
This is bring all the schools to the bean fields.
I haven't heard of that specific lot, like I haven't heard someone call it, I didn't realize there was conservation.
Yeah.
It is.
Town land behind
That's
that field.
when, I bartered to put that, what we call the auxiliary field back there
Yeah, the softball.
with the owner of the land. Okay? And I discussed that with him, and that's why it was far away from where his houses are.
Yeah, up the
And,
tree more.
yeah, and the rest of his land he gave to conservation, so.
Yeah, I don't know, it was an idea, cause I know
But-
some of it's wet and you can put at
Yeah,
least
well,
put a
the other-
parking lot in that
The
area.
other thing we should look at
Very
is
fun.
the busing also.
Yes.
In there too,
It's
probably.
gonna be real chock-a-block.
And you got away with South Egan because you created Davis Whitty, you're not gonna be able, you've got an issue with just having Simeon Wilson as a dead end.
I mean, that's
Right.
tough in the
It's gonna
morning
be almost,
already.
But you should be able to, I mean. It has to be like, I just think it could be like, looked at,
Good conversation for
explored.
sure, I just wondered about
But
secondary
you could
egress.
probably do like some type of bus turnaround somewhere in that area.
Well, that's way up,
Yeah.
you know, let's first of all, let's
Yeah.
see if we can do what
Yeah.
we gotta do.
Right,
Well, so I feel like we need to decide here at this meeting what we want to suggest to the board. Because I don't want to go through cycles of like, we're promoting what we have, if this is a viable option. Like, what is the next step? Does the board reach out? Do we tell the board we think this is a good
So
idea?
I think the
And then-
intention, sorry to interrupt you, Christine. Yeah, I'll let you, it's 11:26. I'm watching the
Okay.
time, I'll let you know. Okay, so just to refocus. Recommending to the board, that's not what we're doing today, we want a full committee for that. So we want the new members of the committee, we want both board reps here, so today is not for that, that will be next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and so that way the board, but I'm encouraging you to, if you have thoughts that you want the board to consider in in our retreat, go ahead and send those. Thoughts on your experience, thoughts on where, we did all of this work, but maybe we should have, whatever, right? Go ahead and send those to me, I'll send those up to Tom, or you can send them to Tom directly, and however you wanna do it, is fine. So that's really today is not like brass tacks about
Okay.
like making a
Because you
recommendation.
guys will meet probably May, you said? for your
That's the
retreat,
hope,
So,
that's the
so
hope.
these,
Calendars are tight,
these
so that's what we're
suggestions
working
should
on.
be, any of these deviations from what the current plan was. Need to be to the board before that retreat.
Yeah.
So that you can decide if you're gonna evaluate that.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
and this, like you just made that mention, Roger, about being, could you like even do it there? And do some type of trade where we help with Buck Meadow. To replace the fields you basically. Assume if you're gonna build a school at Bean Field.
I think the power lines are an issue there, if am I?
Oh,
Right.
building a school on Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know that was discussed.
cause couldn't you do some type of trade also?
Driving on the
you
way.
have to be a certain distance.
Yeah,
away from
Bean's
the
on the
power
right.
lines for
Yeah,
school.
I do
Field
think
right
that
there.
even when South Egan was
I
built,
think
it
that
was
Okay.
close and controversial.
I don't know, I don't know for sure, but I
Yeah.
feel like that is something that's.
Probably.
I travels on the south
never
there,
thought about
brought it up multiple times as far as.
That's a perfect location, it's flat, and you could just build.
There's
Okay.
there's another location too. And I discussed it 15 years ago,
Birch Park.
put it by where Greenfield is.
Oh, Bean.
Oh, that's what, yeah,
That's enough.
Where the little baseball
Softball
field is,
field?
Yeah.
Baseball?
and you got another alternative to run the traffic down through Crossroad.
Cause that's town, those are town.
No,
fields.
no,
It's
we
the
own
school
it, the
district.
school board
Oh,
owns
no
it.
kidding. Even Bean Field?
Yeah.
Fields, yeah.
Well,
everything.
let's-
It's
School.
the
Let me put it
Amherst,
this
I thought
way.
that was town property.
no,
No,
it's the Amherst School
They
District.
maintain
Amherst
it.
School District owns it,
Oh, that
and
was-
he pays $1 rent.
So then you could do it there. And
Well, you got-
remove Wilkins and put Fields over here to replace the ones
Yes,
that you
there you
assumed,
go.
right?
Just a thought though, so talking this through, so
After the high
just
school.
because we're talking,
So we just have to get.
so would we be happy with taking the proposed school design that we have and just plopping it on a new plot of land, or are you actually looking to design a whole new building to meet the plot of land?
I would,
I don't think we have approval from taxpayers to design a whole new building because we don't have the funds to do that.
We can
To
get
even
the
do a
funds if
design,
we need
right.
it.
And that would be a
School
whole
board,
other.
they can put a line
I
item
understand
to
what
it.
you're saying.
Yeah, I get exactly.
I don't know, I mean, that,
I think, to be honest, if I would assume that if you build a rectangular building, it's gonna be dramatically cheaper than the design that we've come up with.
Already,
the
yeah.
fits that spot, right, that design was
It's not
very
a bad
much created because
design,
of the
but-
space.
To have it,
It's improvision.
Hmm. Okay,
My struggle is I see savings, but we're on our second architect, third design.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my biggest
well,
struggle.
it's 30-year, 40-year stuff, so you wanna make sure we're right, you know,
Yeah.
something's gotta pass, we gotta get something to pass.
right,
So, my mind's racing now.
Christine, we haven't heard from you. Do you have any post-election thoughts on the results and how everything played out, leading up to the vote, communication, like this is an open forum for any feedback.
I'm very encouraged that we got 54%, because that says to me that we're gaining more and more support. I think we did a really good job communicating, and we're improving every year, I think. And I think that, we definitely have to go forward with something. And I would like to see that happen sooner rather than later, because I think we got a late start last year. So I would just like to, suggest to the board that we do try to get this hashed out. If this is an option and we want to talk about it, let's work really hard to get that information so we can just, either start doing it or whatever the answer is. But I just want to get the communication out, because I think we can just do more community sessions, more pushing out the information. And like I said, we did a good job last year. We had board members that were very willing to go out and talk to the citizens, and, we had great turnout at our Wilkins event where, we had a lot of the senior community come in and actually said they really didn't know all the information about it, and we had changed their minds by giving them information and talking to them. That was mostly Tim. He did a great job with that. So I feel like if we can do that again and get more of those kind of events on the calendar and talk to people where they're at, bring them to our schools, I think we can be successful. I'm hopeful.
Thanks.
I wasn't here to vote on it. I was playing golf down in.
It would have been 55%.
However, I agree with some discussions you just had. I think the Wilkins School meeting we should have maybe twice of those. And we should have one at the Sohegan High School too. And also at the Wilkins School. We can squeeze some people in there, surely. But my other thought was too, is that I don't think we had enough support from the school board. Because I think the school board should have been more proactive in the discussions they had. And more in the paper,
Which
Well-
paper?
any paper.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was like a specific place that you feel like.
Well,
really
the-
needs
the
to-
Amherst Citizen-
That's-
The Amherst Citizen is one, and
It's
even,
gone though.
but,
There's no I mean, it's online,
right,
yeah.
I don't even open my computer unless I have to.
I don't
Right,
read that either.
right, so I was just, I guess my question for you is there a physical paper that you think?
Well, the Amherst Citizen is one,
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, so
what do you mean?
They don't do
publish a
a
paper anymore.
physical paper.
Who bought it then?
The same people have it, but they just do an online newsletter,
They
which
stopped at COVID.
frankly, I don't leave it open.
Goodness, what's coming up?
Right.
I know.
So therefore,
Hmm.
we gotta generate a publication bit of the school board plus members of the committee
Mhm.
to do it. That's the way I look at it. And more meetings.
More meetings.
More meetings with whoever, like I said, the WA, never
More
happened.
community meetings.
Yeah, never happened.
Yeah.
And you got senior people there, ladies who have their husband, and they tell them what to do.
We did have a lot of success at the meetings we held in conjunction with the school board at Wilkins. We did a couple coffees, we did a lunch,
I know, but,
and it was,
but we should have had them like at 6:30
okay,
evening to
we
get
can,
the people that's working.
right, I mean, well, that, adding more, changing the times up. I think we have a good base there, people who we wanna.
So more communication, John, that's the feedback,
Yeah,
reaching out more
Oh,
to
yeah.
specific groups who
I
may
did
not.
have a couple of people ask me, what are we doing with the fifth grade?
Yeah.
And I says, we don't want to put an expansion on the middle school to compensate for it. Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm,
See,
mhm,
communication.
mhm. All right,
We had 37.5% of the voters vote. Does that sound right? Around 37%.
Yeah, that's,
in the town, yeah.
that's all.
So, like, and the adage is, right, it's easier to find someone who is in support than to change your mind. So I think it's turnout, because if you're looking at 6% to move the needle, are you talking 100 votes? You need to find 100 people, so you need to find
Mhm.
voter turnout. I think we're on the right track. I appreciate, other venues, but I think I agree. I think this is on the track. We made, one more jump.
I mean, the outreach is definitely on the track, however we approach it, going forward.
Because it was voted November,
I'm sorry.
voted to the warrant November this year.
I think it was-
Oh, to move it, yes.
So, I'm
We were
so glad you're
really
doing it in
late.
May, you're doing the retreat in May, last year we waited until July, and we have
And
work
we
to
didn't
do.
have anything until October,
Right,
yeah, it
so
was late
I
last
think the
year.
time is moving it forward,
Yeah,
and then you focus on as much as you can voter turnout.
So
And
the
it was
other-
a hard year across the state for these types of articles, not many districts passed. As
Not many
evident.
got 50.
Yeah, not
some
many
got
got 50, so
destroyed.
getting,
Milford's didn't pass it.
Milford, and
No.
they had they had actually money from the state, Milford had, grant money because they were doing some CTE building. And there was a grant for that, money on the table, and they still couldn't, like, guaranteed money on the table if they passed it, and this was
Just-
their second time at bat, I think. with
I think
that
you're right,
money.
and Colebrook, who was number one on the list, got 30% guaranteed state aid.
Wow. That was a tough year.
So I mean, it's a tough climate for these types of things, so I do think that the 54% is encouraging. That, the community wants us to continue moving something forward.
Just-
I wonder, hearing you all say that, you're talking with people and communication. The board has done community feedback sessions in the past, that may be something as the board that we need to talk about, just doing again for. For people in a variety of formats,
You
to
should
get a
know,
good,
it took 3 tries just to get this high school through.
Yeah.
3 times.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it takes that for the populace to understand what we're trying to do and why it costs some of that.
Good point.
Yeah, yes, Mike.
And we've talked about it here, taking a look at the results of the votes
Mhm.
and getting some information around that. To finding out how people voted, the trends and then looking to find ways to attract more people to vote.
Mhm. Okay, database.
I think more time could help. You know,
Mhm.
I don't think it's just the Amherst board. I do think the 3 boards need to be more united on this topic. And so that's some things to consider, how to do that,
Mhm.
how to develop. It's not really connected to this, but what you can do with 4 chairs according to like the RSA's.
Policy.
Yeah, policies, I think there's someone there to help with it,
And if it's just policy, you can always amend the policy.
right?
Mhm.
So.
Sorry, I'm just taking some notes for my own benefit here. All right, so thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sticking with this committee. I think that I'm excited to get some additional members. I think a good diversity of, community representatives on this committee is critical. But I also appreciate having those of you who have kind of been here over this last year or longer because of the institutional knowledge that you bring to the committee. And so thank you for that. We will meet in May at our regularly scheduled meeting. If anyone's not getting appointments or emails, I know there were some issues with some folks on the committee. Please just reach out to me directly and say, I don't feel like I'm getting everything. I think I'm just gonna start emailing them to everyone directly instead of using that group email, because there's been a few hiccups there, so.
What's
So
the
May
date?
9th.
The date of the next meeting, thank you, Amy, is May 9th. Are we set at 11th?
That's what
At
I
11
see.
for that one?
See 11, yeah.
Perfect. So May 9th, 11 o'clock here. If you have a conflict that it would be easier to zoom in, let me know and we'll make sure to have that link up and running. But that is all that I have today, unless anyone has something burning that they would like to.
Are we doing any interviewing on the new people coming in or requesting to join the committee?
No, right now that's the board will discuss the applicants at our next meeting on the
Okay.
18th and make those appointments. Those are board appointments.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. All right, with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 11:41.
Oh, my
Get to your
goodness.
next meeting right on time.
Yeah.
Thank you.